Oh, well, welcome back to It's New. It seems like a new poisoned Morty last night, and he wasn't able to make
Is
it
that
in.
what happened?
I
I
didn't
don't
do
know.
anything. He was very well and alive and kicking when I left him last night. I'll say he had a one too many whiskeys. Oh God. Oops.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see him tomorrow. But yeah, it was supposedly an interesting night you had there. Morty was wheeled off in a wheelchair after he sipped something that I knew passed him.
I had nothing to do with me. Nothing
How
to do
close
with
were you
me.
sitting next? How close were you? How many seats away?
I did not even know when it was happening. Like I had gone to get like some food, some drinks, and then all of a sudden I'm walking by and people and there's some guys going, "Oh, move out of the way. We need to, wait, someone's on the wheelchair." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I looked behind me, it was Mordy. I was like, "Wait, what?" I had no idea what was going on. And then some time passed, and me and Joe went downstairs like, "Oh, let's look for him, make sure he's okay." We went downstairs and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've let him go. He's wandering somewhere in the stadium." We're like, "Okay." But yeah, that was fun.
Sounds like an interesting evening. Any event.
The homage to Paul Pierce. Basketball
Was that-
joke.
Anyway, I'll include a little picture of Morty in his wheelchair so you can see that and feel bad for him. In any event, I'll be covering Google looking to reduce their search and ad units with a buyout program. Unrelated content may be hurting your search ranking issues, and a small but maybe significant update to the search removal based demotion systems in the Google search documentation. Greg, what do you got for us?
Microsoft adds new custom report builder, and more information on how PMax and shopping work together.
And a new?
YouTube increases the length of non-skippable ads even. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. So Google last night, there were announcements. They sent out an email to their internal team, basically saying they are doing some voluntary buyout program. I think they called it like a voluntary exit program or something like that. And basically, the information said they're looking to reduce the number of employees in the search and ad units. And CNBC said it also goes across the knowledge and information team, which I think is a search team, central engineering units, marketing, research, and communication teams, and so forth. It seems like it might be a prerequisite happening right before Google might be doing layoffs. So I guess if enough people don't volunteer for this buyout program, when they say, okay, I'm willing to lose my job if you give me some money, it looks like Google might result in layoffs in the future. I'm not sure. This is literally comes like a week or so after Sundar Pichai said in a Bloomberg interview that we will grow from our current engineering base even into next year. Basically, when somebody asked him, like, are you going to go ahead and reduce staff with all this AI you're releasing because AI could do it for you? He said no. He said, we're just going to be hiring. So this literally comes like a week or so after Sundar Pichai said that. But maybe they'll hire on the AI side and less so on the search and ad side. I'm not sure. Wall Street Journal added that this is steps it's made to help fund billions in AI spending. So it looks like maybe they're shifting some of their spending off of search and ads into AI. Again, I don't know. Plus, they're making a bunch of their employees that are within X amount, I think 50 miles from their office, to come into the office. It's going to be a requirement, I think at least 3 days a week and so forth, which they said numerous times, but I don't know. Currently, the last earnings report, Google had 185,000 employees. They were up about 5,000 employees from the previous year. So we'll see what the next earnings report brings with these layoffs, because they didn't announce a number. Back in January 2023, they laid off about 12,000, and then a bunch of other hundreds of employees from the ads department, maybe several months after that. So we'll see. Things are changing over at Google. I haven't heard anything internally. I was just speaking to a Googler like this past Sunday, and it seemed like Google layoffs were done, and I don't know, guess not. So
You called it, Barry, at Google I/O. You're like, all these people are cheering, and eventually it's going to cost their jobs.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
sooner than expected.
I mean, I feel terrible for these people. I'd also
Do
assume
you,
that's what
Greg?
yeah, I don't want people to lose jobs.
No.
I mean, at least this is like a buyout program. And then I'd also just assume that coming into the office, if you're within that 50-mile radius, that's just to also it's like, some people are just going to quit.
Right. So yeah, and Google's going to word it as, yeah, we're basically the whole wording. They had some quotes from Nick Fox and some other Googlers, the executives over there. So it's very interesting how they worded it, of course. And then John Mueller basically made a comment about unrelated content and how maybe that could be causing indexing and ranking issues. There was complaint from somebody that they're not ranking and indexing is not going well. And John Mueller said on Blue Sky, one of the things I noticed is that there's a lot of totally unrelated content on the site. Is that by design, he asked. And he basically said, do some site commands on these types of queries. It looks really weird, he said. So I don't know. Google's John Mueller said previously that niche content isn't required, that you can write things off topic and still rank. I think Danny Sullivan said that as well, but there is a very, very important thing to stay in your lane, because if I'm writing about SEO stuff and search stuff all day long, and then I start writing about my grandma's recipes, it's going to be a little weird. My reader's going to be like, what's going on? So try to avoid unrelated content and talking about things that are off topic, including things about Morty being wheeled off at a baseball stadium.
No, was he okay after?
Very relevant content. He was okay. He was absolutely fine. They said, I think it was more like his blood sugar level was low. So like by the time I saw him coming out, he was eating a large pot of ice cream. So I was like, okay, he's okay.
that'll fix the blood sugar.
And then Google made some minor changes to the removal-based demotion system located in the Google search ranking system documentation. This basically talks about legal removals and personal information removals, where if you get a bunch of like valid copyright removal requests or a significant number of like removal for personal information around exploitive removal practices. Take that for what it was. They basically changed the word from high volume to significant volume throughout the whole document. So the word high throughout 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 different highs, HIGH, were replaced by significant. So that's a small change, but I think it's a somewhat symbolic change, I guess. I'm not really sure what to read into that exactly, but you guys could all figure whatever you want with those changes. They made the change for a reason. I just don't know exactly why, because how do you define significant versus high? But I don't know. Any event, Greg, what do you got for us?
Okay, there's news from Microsoft Advertising, and there are better templates now for reporting. As I mentioned on the show before, I don't use in-platform reporting. We kind of make our own reports, but there's a variety of new templates that can help you get a jump start. Actually, it looks like more than what Google Ads offers for what it's worth. So that's one element that was announced. Another element is that PMax is going to operate on Microsoft more like it does on Google Ads, which is a big deal. If you recall, up until October of last year, Performance Max, if you had a shopping product in Performance Max, it would take absolute priority over shopping campaigns. That has still been the way Microsoft worked up until this announcement, at least. So with their auction dynamics now, there was going to change how Performance Max and standard shopping campaigns get prioritized in auction when they're in the same account, targeting the same products. Now Performance Max is automatically being prioritized, but normal auction dynamics will now apply, and the campaign with the highest ad rank will serve just like other campaign types. So if you have higher bids in your shopping, you are going to serve essentially for, shopping will serve over Performance Max, which is a big change. There's also some changes to the imports, where if you're using a Google import or a Meta import, you need to be careful on Microsoft with imports. If you want a story about that, I just jumped on the PPC Live podcast with Anu, and we talked about an issue that arose from Microsoft import.
Yeah.
But the image will come in as a carousel and go right into the audience ads. And then lastly, there is a Shopify connection. So if you want, the Shopify import has been upgraded or updated via the Microsoft channel app within the Shopify app store. So you may want to upgrade that and test it if you are using that integration within shopping or Shopify. So a lot of nice new changes there. Biggest one I'd say being now shopping can compete with PMax. Or Excellent. Show over PMax.
Thanks for that summary, Greg. And I knew you have something that might be good for advertisers, but not so good for consumers.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. So, YouTube is starting to test 30-second non-skippable ads in standard campaigns. So they'll be appearing alongside the 15-second non-skippable ads and 6-second bumper ads, and that's how you can choose where to put it. And this was nicely announced by our friend Anthony Higman, or Higaman, depending on how you want to say his name. And I loved like some of the responses, like Jill's asking girl, she was like, as a marketer, yay. As a YouTuber, yes, I'm so close to being monetized. As a user, this is why I pay for premium. So yeah, who knows how the reaction was going to be. And Nava was like, Nava Hopkins of Microsoft. Yeah, she's like, advertisers who choose to invest with these are going to need solid creatives. If not, they are going to pay to annoy their prospects into never working with them out of spite. So it could be a make or break for brands if they decide to use it and not have great creatives. So yeah, handle with care.
Sounds good. Okay, great. Hopefully we're back tomorrow with more. It's new. I think a bunch of us will be at XMX. Hopefully Morty will be alive, and Greg, I think, will be traveling while we're recording. So
I'll be in the
I was
air.
gonna say, can we do it in person? We should do like probably like in person, like
yeah, the three of us probably will figure out how to do it in person. Yeah, we'll figure
You
that
might
out.
catch whatever Morty's got, though. Be careful.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, everyone, have a great day. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.